Hey, you want to go outside for a minute? Let's go outside for a minute. Okay.
Hi, Brad. How are you?
I'm tired.
How are you?
But
I wish we'd gotten some rain.
we got a tiny bit.
We didn't get anything.
Nothing?
No, nothing. A lot of wind.
We got not enough, but a little.
Yeah.
Our grass is finally growing.
Yeah, I saw. I went by your house today, actually. I noticed. That's good.
It's our back behind the house where you can't quite see from the, from the road is our new dining room.
Oh, nice.
We take a table out there and we set up and we just eat out in the, it's really nice.
Nice. Yeah. We eat on our deck a lot, which is nice. But our grass that we put in 2 new sections along the last 2 falls, and The first one you put is like looking really yellow. It's just so dry.
Ugh.
It's too bad.
I went out and got a sprinkler because I was afraid the new grass was going to die if I didn't get it
Yeah.
wet.
Yep. Yeah, you do have to water it when it's just first growing.
Yeah.
We've always done ours in the fall, but you still have to water it.
I would have done mine in the fall, but the builder said, "Oh well, too late." And then he wouldn't come back.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the reminders about all the other things Marianne sent us.
Hi.
Hi.
So all the environmental things, those were just sort of FYIs. They're
That's what I
not,
was doing.
Has
yeah.
a person been selected yet?
No. So I got one more quote
Okay.
when the select board, and then I just read through that one. I read through what I think of are the top two, and the fourth quote was one of the ones. Um, and then I had questions, so I'm going to talk to that person tomorrow morning.
Mhm.
And the select board meets again next Tuesday. They wanted to get the fourth quote before they made a decision. So they're
Mhm.
going to make that decision at their meeting on Tuesday.
Okay, good to know.
So
I had a feeling it was their decision anyway, but
yes, yeah.
I did scan them though. It was interesting.
Yes. Yeah. And they're all different.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so
Wildly different prices too.
yes, yeah, they are and so I took, and like I've been the one talking to all of them on the phone. And for professional services, you don't even have to get 3 bids.
I know.
But for this sort of classification of services, but it's always good practices. And then because I'm having this back and forth on the telephone, like there's also that, like who's easy to talk to, who answers questions or doesn't just sort of like rattle off a bunch of technical jargon, who explains things so that I can understand them and then asks me questions. So there's all of that part of it too,
Hi, Carolyn.
that I
Welcome.
think is important. So.
Oh, you're on mute.
Thank you, Michelle.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Marianne, that DocuSign never showed up again. If you talked to anybody?
I did. I emailed her. Rita's hasn't come either, and Rita's
Okay.
is kind of the most important one.
Yeah.
And she just says, all the names are on there. So I had to get through the building charge, through the committee charge. So now, so we'll do this, and then I'll and so so the select board's gonna vote to sign the contract on the 19th.
Okay.
So so I said, okay, well, and like I told her, and she said, have them check their junk box, and you had already done that. So I'll start again tomorrow.
Yeah, I did once Kate said that. I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea.
Yes, and Rita has checked hers too.
It's
So there's
amazing how much
something.
can end up in a junk box. I hardly ever
know.
look at it.
Yes.
It used to tell me how many were in the spam folder, but it doesn't. I go look and I'm like, oh my goodness. Hi, Melanie. So we're just waiting for Savannah and Kate.
Melanie, you said your back is sore. Are you able to take minutes tonight?
Yeah, I'm on drugs.
Okay. Just
But
thought I'd
the-
check.
Oh, it's always a bummer when you hurt yourself exercising, but don't feel bad. I do it all the time. I just finished a long physical therapy sessions because I hurt myself in my strength classes.
While we're waiting for Kate.
Mm-hmm. If somebody has, I was going to chair tonight because she chaired the last one, but my little Fitbit watch broke, and so if somebody can help me keep track of the time if we're running on too late, if I, I can't, I don't have anything else to, I don't have another clock in here or a watch or anything. So
I could do it.
okay, thank you.
Welcome.
I just want to make sure we don't run over time.
Well, should I just like announce every half hour or something?
Yeah, we were only meet for about an hour anyway, but
Ah.
that would be good because sometimes we can all get long-winded and lose track of time.
And we're expecting 2 more.
Savannah and I haven't heard that she wasn't coming, and Kate.
Here's Kate.
Do we know if Savannah's coming? I haven't heard from her.
I don't think we should wait for
Oh,
Savannah.
yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I didn't know if you'd heard.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kate, if you're still needing to be off camera, I was going to volunteer to chair tonight anyway. If you're eating or something.
Yes, that would be wonderful. In fact, I'm just gonna go grab something to eat
Okay.
and have you take it away. That would be fantastic.
Okay. All right. So I'll just review the agenda tonight. So we have to review the minutes from May 16th, vote for officers for the next year, because it's the new fiscal year. Updates from Marianne, and then the building committee charge, review the draft, and it was handy to have that MBLC resource. That was great. And then set the date for the next meeting. Does that sound good?
Michelle, can you read the statement about us being on Zoom?
Oh yes, we're on Zoom because we're still experiencing a pandemic. So we're not meeting in person. Someday we might be able to, you never know. But for now, we are meeting remotely. So the minutes, I sent a whole bunch of suggestions to Melanie. And did anybody else? Melanie's got her hand up. Go ahead, Melanie.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to have my hand up, but I now that it is up, I did accept all of your
Okay.
Your recommendations, which were mostly spelling, grammar.
Yeah,
but-
they were simple. They were, yeah.
Yeah, and then Marianne found a couple of things too and emailed me those, so I corrected those as well.
Okay. Anybody else? Brad, sometimes you find things, did you? The only thing I wasn't sure of at the very end, it said next meeting and we had some May, well, it said May, but didn't have a date. But I didn't think there were any. When I looked at my calendar, I couldn't find any. Go ahead, Kate.
Found a typo that you may have already dealt with. I'm just looking for it right now. Just a second, I'm sorry. It is on page 2. The last bullet under sort of questions, a question from Amanda. We will read carefully rather than.
Oh, yep, got that one.
Okay.
Oh, you know, I didn't even see that one.
That's all I had.
That's a good one.
That's all I had.
And when was the next meeting?
I didn't see anything till June. When I looked back in my May calendar, I didn't see anything after, unless I didn't write it down.
I thought we set a number of meetings that we then canceled. And then
Oh, well, that could be, but they weren't even in my calendar. You know, I usually just cross them out if they get canceled, but
Do we
when I
not
looked.
have a meeting on the?
I didn't see anything after the
May?
16th. Which
The
day?
night before the vote? I thought we had a meeting the night before the vote on the 28th. Oh, that was June.
That
Duh.
was June.
Sorry.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in May, so.
I'm looking in the Zoom
And then the next date was
Settings.
June 6th is the next one.
Let's
Yeah.
see. So we're looking at May.
Yeah, I didn't say anything after the 16th.
Yeah, let me look
Mhm.
and see if we, if it was, well, actually, we'd only know if we met. I would only know if it was our account. Let's see. So that was May 11th.
In the
We
town calendar,
We met on the 16th, though.
Oh, we met on the 16th, right? So
Mhm.
May 16th. So I should put
The
that
next
down.
meeting. Yes, yeah, okay.
May
Okay.
16th.
And we had minutes from that one that we.
Yep.
We already did those, though. Yeah.
We did. Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
then
I
you said that there
have
was
a
a
very
meeting on the
detailed
6th.
calendar and I see nothing in May. I have it the old fashioned way, so if I cancel it, I cross it out. And I didn't see
The meeting on
anything.
June 6th. I
June
think I
6th.
think that was the one I wasn't there for.
Hmm. Wonder who took those minutes. I guess we should have to look for them.
Yeah, it was a meeting I missed and I didn't take minutes at.
Okay. It's possible I did. I'll have to look. All right. And then it looks like the one after that. So I guess it doesn't matter. It doesn't look like that we had anything else in May.
Right.
So we can just take that out if everybody's comfortable with that. That looks like that's the case. I'll look for the June 6 minutes. It's possible I took them. Don't recall. Great. That was a hard one, Melanie. That was so long. Oh my goodness.
I move we
If the
approve.
votes are over, it's gonna go, the meeting minutes will become, more normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
They
just
will.
didn't want the meeting minutes to, I was telling Marianne to become like political, like for us to be accused of like
Yeah,
taking
absolutely.
anything out of the minutes or
Absolutely. I agree
like
with you.
going overboard. But
Yeah.
Do we need to approve them?
Yes, we do. So were you making a motion?
I
Raising
move
your hand?
that we approve.
Okay. Anybody in a second? Oh,
I
we lost.
second.
I just realized we lost Kate. I just looked up and she's gone.
I didn't do anything.
Her connection was
sounded-
really iffy. Her
It did. It
connection,
sounded kind of weird. And I also got a message and I'm across the street saying that my internet was unstable. I think it's because I have too many documents open, but okay, well, we have a quorum still, so we can still. So I'm sorry, who seconded?
Kate's internet is out.
Oh,
She's trying to reset. So, but
okay.
like you said, you still have a quorum.
Yeah,
so.
I'm sorry, who seconded? I got distracted. Tim, thank you, Tim. All in favor? We have to do a roll call. Brad?
Yes.
Me, yes. Tim
Yes.
and Melanie.
yes,
Okay, great. I guess we'll have to wait for the nominations then. Do you want to give us some updates, Marianne?
I do every month. I hope to get back to doing regular director reports, but
It's okay, a verbal's fine.
you know,
Now.
well, some of you were at the concert on July 2nd after
back, Kate.
the vote, and we had a wonderful, so the Berwick Fiddle concert was wonderful and entertaining, and there were at least 100 people who
Wow.
came, and everyone had cake and a good time. And so that was a lot of fun. And then this past Sunday, I hosted a puppet show with Anna Sobel at the athletic club, and more than 40 people came. And
Nice.
it's really fun to be having in-person programs with families again. And I'm really grateful to the athletic club that they let us use their pavilion, because we couldn't have the programs without them.
Right,
And
absolutely.
everybody was just thrilled to be together and having a good time. So Cynthia is on medical leave starting this week for 6 to 10 weeks. And I am one of our subs, one of the library substitutes is having health issues. So I added 2 people to the sub list. One person hasn't started yet. So Ella, who's been a library volunteer for more than 4 years, we added her to the sub list because I don't have to train her to do anything.
Mhm.
And she can step into some of Cynthia's hours and do a lot of what Cynthia would do. So Ella's going to be helping out starting next week. And then a woman in town, her name is Samantha Spiziak, Spisiak, is going to be doing some subbing. She applied for the weekend position and then withdrew her application because she didn't want to give up all of her weekends. But she likes the idea of subbing every once in a while. So, and Julie's going to be away starting in the fall. Julie also subs. So I needed to add some more people.
Mhm.
So once I get Sam up and running, I'll probably even try and find another person to sub. And then we have so a couple of things I've had to do for the MBLC. I had to send them certified copies of the town meeting vote and the special election vote. So Grace Spanish, our town clerk, prepared those, and I scanned and emailed them digital copies and then sent the hard copies in the mail. And then we're working on getting the contract ready so that it can be signed after the select board votes to sign it. So that's a process, Kate. Michelle asked about it before we started. I'm going to email the person again tomorrow, letting her know that you and Michelle haven't, and Rita still haven't received the contract. Becky and I have. And so we have that to do, but at least we've got it going. They have the contract ready. And then we have the building charge and the building composition to talk about tonight.
Mhm.
So that's most of what's going on.
Okay. Any other questions from anybody for Marianne? Yeah, go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, is there any further developments on site testing?
So the select board, I had solicited one more quote from a fourth licensed site professional, and the select board wanted to wait for that before making a decision. I got that quote, and then today I had time to compare all of the quotes, and I have some questions for the person who sent the fourth quote, so we're going to talk in the morning. And the select board will decide at their meeting on Tuesday to fund the site testing, and then between Rita and Becky and I will choose a licensed site professional to do the work. So that's where we are, still evaluating quotes and talking to the licensed site professionals.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? How will this differ from previous tests?
This will be testing around bore 9, which is where the VOCs were
one.
found. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not really the library's job to do this because it's so far away from the library site, but this issue does need to be resolved before we this issue, it would be nice to have this issue resolved before we're moving forward with design and citing the building. And so in order to expedite the process, I took it upon myself to get the quotes from the licensed site professionals because Becky hadn't had time to do that. So I just wanted to keep it moving. And we talked about this at our last meeting, which was weeks ago. So it really takes a lot of time to make something like this happen. So I'm just trying to help get the ball or keep the ball rolling. So
Thanks.
Okay, any other questions for Marianne? Must have felt really exciting to put that certificate and all that stuff in the mail, huh?
Mhm.
yes.
Made it seem really
Yeah.
real. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay. So we should probably vote for our officers for next year before we get into the building committee charge, because it is the new fiscal year, so that's the next thing.
We do nominations first, or how does that work?
Yeah, you do.
And are we nominating 2 chairs or 1 chair?
It's up
Co-chairs
to
is,
y'all, right?
yeah, co-chairs has been working out, I think.
Me too.
Okay.
Well, I would, and what else are we nominating for?
Treasurer and the secretary.
And do we usually ask someone to serve as friends liaison
Oh, yes.
at this time?
Yes,
too?
and that will continue to be extremely important now, especially. And we're actually moving forward with the library. So. Well, I would like to nominate Melanie if she'll still do this as secretary, because it's such an important role and you've done a fantastic job in really challenging situations. I don't think any of us had a clue the amount of minutes and meetings that we were gonna be dealing with when you agreed to take this on last year. So what do you think?
Thanks. Yeah, I'll keep doing it.
Yay.
All right.
Yeah,
I will second Michelle's nomination of Melanie for
Okay.
secretary.
So let's
I
do it.
promise that there won't be any more 7-page notes. Meeting, I
Yeah.
promise.
So I guess we should do a roll call. Does everybody, Brad, are you in favor of having Melanie continue as secretary?
Yes.
Okay, me, yes. Tim?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, Kate? You seconded, so I was-
Gratefully.
okay. All right,
I would nominate Michelle and Kate to be co-chairs, to continue as co-chairs.
Thank
I
you.
love your work.
George.
okay, that's fine with me. It's nice to share the load, especially these days when there's so much going on, I must say. Okay, so does anybody want to second that?
I'll second it.
Okay, and then we'll do a roll call. Brad,
Yes.
so that we're proposing that Michelle and Kate continue to be co-chairs. Okay. Tim,
Yes.
Melanie,
Yes.
me, yes, Kate.
Yes.
Okay, all right, we'll continue as co-chairs. And then one position left, 2 positions, the Friends Liaison and the Treasurer. Brad, are you willing to, I'd like to nominate you to continue as treasurer. Are you still willing to do that?
Yes.
Okay,
I second the nomination.
okay. All right, Tim,
Yes.
okay, Melanie,
Yes.
okay, Kate,
Yes.
me, yes, okay, Michelle, just look at my name.
Did Brad vote?
Yes.
Okay, just sorry.
Oh yeah, that's right. You do. Okay, and then the Friends Liaison, Tim, are you willing to continue to do that?
Sure.
Okay,
Second.
okay, all right, so Brad, Tim
Yes.
for Friends Liaison, and me, Michelle, yes. Melanie,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
and Tim.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, now we can move on to the thing we really need to talk about, which is the building committee charge. And so the last one that came in had input from Becky, but I couldn't tell what it was different. And I'm sorry I sent you the wrong one, but I have my,
That's okay.
so I know what my comments were.
Right, that's okay. So should I share it?
If you can, that would be preferable so everybody can see it.
All right,
'cause-
and then I can show you what's.
Yeah, you
let
can
me
tell
just
us what
pull it up
changed.
And let's see.
And then as we go through it, everybody just talk about whatever feedback that they might have for each section. You know, if we do it section by section, that would probably be the easiest.
Alrighty, so this is the newest one with Becky's feedback, and there's one thing that I wanted to ask you. I put it in there because she wanted me to, but I didn't agree. So,
Okay.
and boy, if Becky and I ever totally agreed on something, I think the earth might shatter. So, but something we disagree on things and we talk it through and we come up with a way to work together for, 14 years now. So it's an example
Yeah.
of how things can work. So, so the thing that was different, see the part under composition of committee and then voting members, that's different
Oh,
than,
yeah, I can see
yeah.
that now.
Okay.
Okay.
And so, Becky recommended this, that it's just, that the committee, she liked this better than how we had it listed.
But Marianne, I thought I read in the MBLC that you're supposed to say who the voting members are somewhere.
Yeah, but we don't know who they are yet.
Oh.
So, here's what I think will happen. So you all will agree on a proposed charge. We'll send it to the select board.
Right.
The select board will discuss it at their meeting. They may insert or change something, and then they'll ask me to share it with the community and ask for volunteers to submit their interest. I'm hoping to have them submit letters of interest to me. And then we'll discuss it together at your next, we'll decide on when people need to submit letters of interest by, and then we'll discuss it at a trustee meeting. And then the trustees will make recommendations to the select board. That's sort of how I see it going. I said that all to Becky today, and she agreed with that sounded like a reasonable course of action.
Okay.
And again, but they're the ones who appoint. So, so they get to agree on the charge.
So this part is the part where I did have a question. So how many members does the select board, oh, sorry, Tim, can I ask my question first? I just saw your hand.
Sure. It might be the same question.
Everybody's in a different place. So how many people are they thinking would be on the building committee? Does the MBLC have any recommendation, or the select board?
So we haven't spoken to the select board about this yet. So, I think 9 sounds like way too many. So because this will be, there'll be the overall building committee, and that has to be sort of like a tight group of people who work really well together. And then there can be subcommittees that are formed as different tasks are happening. And that's a way for more people to be involved with specific parts of the project. So anyway, because we had the library director and a trustee and then 6 potential people, I called it 7 to 9, but this is a draft. And it could be that the committee chair and the accountant finance expert are the same people. These were just the different types of expertise that we thought were important.
Okay, so not that I think this could happen, because there certainly are women architects and women in construction, but let's be real, there aren't a lot. My only concern is if it could potentially be male heavy, and that is my concern. So I kind of made a note saying, is there any other, could we make it, open it up so that there's some other type of expert? I don't know exactly what, but some other kind of person that might fit in with this group. Okay, go ahead, Tim. That's just my comment.
Well, to respond to your question, I think there are people in town that excel or in their careers have excelled as project planners. They're not necessarily specifically construction people, but their skill is in making things move. Doing an entire project and making it happen, making things go on. So, and people one person I'm thinking about is female, to respond to your observation. My question, I found this voting members paragraph a bit confusing. I think what I see now is that this list is a list of positions. I'd just like to suggest that we add that, because I wasn't sure, were you trying to list qualifications or names of positions within the committee? So I would suggest that we clarify that.
So was it clearer when it said expertise? You know, the previous draft? Is this what?
I only read this draft.
Okay, all
I
right.
didn't see the.
Can I ask that question, Marianne? Is it, was this the thing that you and Becky changed and?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
this is the latest draft with input from Becky.
Mhm.
And so, you know, you can go ahead and you know, have at it.
I'd suggest that we add a line right after the 7 to 9 members, just stating that possible board position or possible committee positions include, so you know what that list is about. So nobody gets confused and thinking they have to be a construction person, an accountant, all these things mixed together.
Okay, all right, Kate, you had a comment?
I think you could accomplish the what Tim's asking for by switching the sentences and saying the SL.
Oh, I think
We
she
can
just
pass.
raised. Wait, yeah, we're having a hard time.
Oh, you
hearing
know what?
Kate.
I'm sorry. I just completely blinded over the line that says to fulfill the following roles.
Yeah,
So I retract my thought.
okay.
I just like read right through that for some reason. So I'm
Are
okay.
y'all having trouble hearing me? Yes, okay, I'm sorry.
Sometimes you're going in and out, yeah.
Yeah, I will find another place to be, okay, that maybe has a little better Wi-Fi signal. I do think if you can hear me just well enough, yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I still think Tim has a good point, and it would help to switch those two sentences.
Yeah, I agree. That makes total sense now that I'm rereading it. Yeah.
So put the SLBC will have 7 to 9 members first.
Mhm.
And then let's see.
Then what it's composed of, and talking about the skills and expertise in the following roles.
7 to 9 members. Okay. About including oh, I think this is good. Here, wait a minute. All one sentence.
Yeah, that's good. That's a lot clearer. That was a good suggestion.
Let me just get rid of the extra the. My God. Brad would have a heyday with that. Okay. All right.
Okay, Brad, do you have a comment about what we're talking about this section?
Well, before I get to mine, Marianne, at the end of that, there's now 2 periods. Just, you know, I have to.
I would have found it. I
have to live up to my
It's
my
so,
charge
it's
here.
so small on
So-
my screen, I can't even see it.
Okay.
I think 9 is too many. I would suggest 5 to 7.
Okay.
For a committee like this, 9 is a lot of people.
Right. And a library trustee could have finance or architecture design, you know, or communications,
Yeah.
or be willing to be the clerk. Okay. I agree. Okay.
So that was
I
one.
I
comment.
personally think 5 seems too small. 7 makes more sense to me.
Right.
I agree with Michelle.
Right. So should we call it 7? I mean, I was calling it 7 to 9. I mean, what we don't want is 6.
I think you ought to just say 7, Marianne,
Yeah,
because 9's too many.
Okay,
I think 7
5
sounds good.
is not enough.
okay,
We have to
All
have
right.
an even number.
okay. All right.
So that was one of my comments. Another one is just following up on what Tim said. Someone with project management skills is useful. It it starts being funny though because of trying to fit that in 7 spots. And as you say, people can overlap, but it is a useful skill. I agree with
And all right, so I have project management experience
you. So
and,
that might do it.
okay, and we're gonna have an owner's project manager, who,
That's true.
oversees the whole entire project. So,
So,
yeah,
but you could include that in um, that charge or not, it doesn't matter.
It's true, you could by saying, because we're talking about people who have expertise in the following areas. It doesn't mean that, what if
that
we
we
don't
get
find? Yeah,
everyone,
what if we don't
right,
find anybody that wants to do it, who has
Right.
architectural design
okay.
or communications? Yeah, I think that's a good point.
Michelle,
Yes?
can
Right.
you elaborate a little bit on your concern about male versus female in the makeup?
Uh-huh. Could I elaborate?
Yeah,
Well, I certainly, my husband's in the building trades. He certainly has worked with, well, there's only one or two women carpenters, but it's just sometimes it's hard to find women that are in the construction business or architecture. And I'm just worried that, if it ends up, and if I just don't want to see it unbalanced, that's all.
I guess my
Gender-wise.
question was that, I mean, I tend to agree, I do agree with you, but I'm just kind of wondering if you have a feeling that an imbalance will impact how the group works.
It could potentially, that's all. I'm just expressing the concern. It's not going to be written anywhere. I'm just expressing that concern. That's all.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kate.
Well, to that end, we might recommend or include a request for gender diversity.
Yes, that's a good point.
And we are, in fact, I think, going to review people who have expressed interest, and that is really a no for us, I think.
Yes, it is.
Am I right about that?
It just came up for me when I saw the list, and I thought, it's
Yeah,
something
no,
we
I
should talk
totally
about.
appreciate what you're saying, and I think it's really important. And if it were possible to get some racial diversity as well, I would be totally in favor of that too.
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate your raising this. There was one other thing. Oh, when we first looked at this, there was sort of a list of people who are not voting members, but are part of the committee. And that changed, Marianne. And I was wondering if you could explain the thinking behind that change.
Right.
Thanks.
So so when you and I spoke, we put me down as ex officio, and I sort of polled my colleagues among library directors who are currently involved in or have been involved in library construction projects. And they all said that the library director should be a voting member of the committee. So I changed that. And then I asked Lauren and Andrea if they expected to be ex officio members. And they said that they didn't think they should be listed as committee members either. They certainly didn't expect to be voting members, and they didn't think they should be listed as ex officio members because they were concerned that might, that some people might have an issue with that. So they said that one or both of them will attend the design meetings, and that, and we have the list of subcommittees, and that they would be on the sort of the design construction subcommittee, but they wouldn't be on the overall building committee. So that's why I took them out as
Okay.
from that
Great.
list, okay?
Thank you. That makes so much sense. And I'm really glad you'll be a voting member. That seems super important to me.
Yeah, that seems pretty valuable. Brad, do you have a comment or question?
So, Mary Ann, this is on sort of on the same subject. The original list of subcommittees has been taken out of this top section. Is it now below? Did we
It
just
is.
see
Do
that?
you want me to scroll down?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And
Okay.
and does that equal to the original list you gave us?
Yes, in fact, I think, so the only change here, let me see, is the teen advisors for the teen space. I think it might have said teen advisory. And Becky, so this is where Becky and I went back and forth, and she wanted it to be clear that it was teens that were doing the teen advisory or were involved in the teen advisory. It's fine to call it teen advisors for the teen space. But it doesn't, but I think teen advisory means a board that includes teens that are contributing to ideas for a teen space. But anyway, but this is the list of subcommittees, yes.
So my comment is that I really like this being pulled out of the top part, that the voting members committee is very separate from the subcommittees. What this doesn't say is who sets up the subcommittees. Is that the job of the full committee? Is that the job of?
Yes. So it says form subcommittees at various stages of the project, such as, and then those people on, so the people on the building committee would then say, okay, it's time to do the interior design. Are there people that would like to be on an interior design subcommittee? And then people from the building committee would be on that design committee, and others from the community would be on it.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, let me just go back up to the one before that. Was right up to the first section. Are we done with the first section? Kate, do you have a comment?
I have a quick question.
Kate, Kate had her hand up first. Tim, can we go with that?
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Thanks, Michelle.
Okay.
All right. Go
ahead, Tim.
Okay. I didn't hear you, Kate, so I'm sorry about that. I was just wondering, Mary Ann, as far as the way this is going, it looks like there's only going to be one person who actually knows a lot about libraries on here, and that's you. Do you have any concerns that you will be the only one who is arguing for certain types of characteristics that you know are good for a library, and others may not have the experience to know that?
Well, if you read down, you can see that committee members they're required to commit to educating themselves about libraries. And then I think when we form some of those subcommittees, that would be an opportunity for other people who know about libraries to be involved. But there's going to be a library trustee who's on the building committee. And so one would think that a library trustee would have a special interest in libraries. And I, part of the reason why I am advocating for myself to be a voting member is because then I don't feel like I'm a pushover. And we're also going to hire an owner's project manager and architects who have experience and a good reputation for working well with libraries and understanding library design principles. And Lauren and Andrea will be attending design meetings, and they're both librarians.
Okay.
So
thank you.
Yeah.
I think it's really important that you be a voting member, Mary Ann, so I'm glad that got changed. So in the next section, the context and
Kate has her hand
expectations.
raised.
Sorry?
Kate has her hand
I'm
raised.
sorry. Okay. It wasn't a minute ago. I just looked down to read something. Go ahead.
I
Kate.
know, it's so
Oh.
tricky. Project management has an E between the G and the EM.
Oh, why isn't my thing telling me that? Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Okay.
So the only thing I wanted to stress somewhere is that it says, well, working as a team. I just want to feel like we should emphasize that it's this group of people really need to be able to work together collaboratively so that, I don't know where we say that, but I feel like it's so important because it's really hard work and, people can't get stuck too much in their own,
So should it be will work collaboratively as a
yeah,
team?
that's where I was going to put it. And it was in that last paragraph. That was my suggestion. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other suggestions for this section? Then we can go to the next one. No? Okay, go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, is it okay? Just so I was thinking about that too, the importance of collaboration.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure whether it should be in the charge or just one of the first orders of business, but for the building committee to set up a set of, agreements on how they're going to work. We could include that in the expectations, that they will create a set of ground rules and commitments, committing to being at the meetings, committing to being prepared with and having reviewed documents, committing to, listening carefully to other people. So maybe, but I don't know, that it feels a little directive, but
Yeah.
I just, so it could just be a recommendation, or given that there's going to be a trustee on the committee, a trustee could make that recommendation early in the process.
Yeah, my experience with this, it's always good for the people, the committee to develop their own ground rules, but I totally agree with you, Kate. think
Yeah,
that's
I
really
wasn't
important.
suggesting that we say what they should be, just that the
Yeah.
committee should
Yeah,
create them, but
I
I
agree.
think it's later, but I really like having that word collaboratively in there.
Okay, any other comments on this section, or should we move to the next one? Okay, the charge, we already kind of looked at a little bit. Is there anything that you want to highlight, Marianne, for us? Because it does look a little bit different.
No, it's, so Kate has her hand up.
Okay, go ahead, Kate.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you though, Marianne, if you're.
No,
So this is a quibble, I think, but to my mind, subcommittee means a group drawn from the composition of the committee.
Oh, yeah, that's.
And I think
true.
these are working groups or something,
Yeah, I agree, Ed. You're right.
task teams or something like that.
Mhm.
so you want me to call it working groups?
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And I just have a comment about the landscaping.
Yes.
The garden club really wants to do the landscaping and choose the plants and all of that. And I think that, some of them are master gardeners. I think that, I think that's really important. They're willing to do fundraising and all of that. So,
I think they are. I think, so I think the garden club and the recreation committee who are planning community gardens. And then I think I actually think that the garden club has to work with the library to make sure that what the garden club is planning is what the library's vision is. So the garden club can be part of the landscaping working group, but I don't think they can tell the library what the garden should be. You know what I mean? So they can be part of a team.
yeah, I do
but
to
yeah.
a certain extent, but I think that they have knowledge. I mean, I'm a gardener, but I'm not the master gardener like some people are.
Right.
I mean,
right.
if you look at what they did with the berm, it's amazing.
Right.
But anyway.
Right. But it might be that people want to plant, edible plants in the library gardens. It might be that people want a focus on native plants in the library gardens. It might be that people want to focus on pollinators. So I think that those are all conversations.
That's part of the that's part of the discussion. I'm just saying
Right.
that I just know the garden club really wants to be
Yes.
involved in that.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
somebody has already mentioned, I mean, pollinator gardens are great. And somebody else has already mentioned, wouldn't it be great to have more native plants? So yeah, that's something that they should do. But I just want to say that I feel like they could certainly make some choices and then present them to the committee, the overall committee. But I think that some of them have incredible expertise that we should take advantage of because they just do.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think when the time comes,
Yeah.
the landscaping working group is heavily populated by the
Yeah.
Shutesbury Garden Club.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, they're workhorses too. They get their job
absolutely,
done. Yeah,
absolutely.
yes. Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else in this part? I think, anybody else have any comments? Looks good to me. And then project timeline.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Tim.
This is just process. The line review, evaluate, and approve all project invoices and change orders. How does that interface with the paid town administration, the accountant, the administrator, et cetera? This is more of a process question.
Right. So I took that, you know, I reviewed other building charges, and that was part of it. So that the owner's project manager will actually do a lot of that. So it's, I mean, I think that's not as big a part as as a committee charge, but it's, you know, and I, you know, and like I can't imagine that that isn't going to be me, but we're going to have to see. But it's just somebody on the committee is going to have to be responsible for making sure that that all gets done properly. Like somebody's going to have to volunteer to have a set of eyes on it, I think.
Does the MBLC have some ground rules in terms of how purchase orders are made, how things happen?
Oh, no, so the money comes to us and then we spend it.
Okay,
So,
and
yeah.
how does this committee interface with the town accountant, for example, to get these invoices paid? Do they approve the invoices and then submit them to the town accountant, or do they work with the town accountant?
Oh, no. There's a whole town system for submitting warrants. So there's a, you know, every other week, there's a form that you fill out where you put in the invoices and then you total
Okay,
it
so
up
it'll
and
be
you
the
submit it.
normal process. There's
Yes,
nothing.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Kate.
I have a question.
Oh, just,
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
um,
Kate had her hand up. Go ahead, Kate.
yeah, I appreciate your question though, Tim, and I do really like having this in here because I think it's an oversight role on expenditure and process that's totally appropriate for people to have. So I was glad to see this in here.
Okay, Carolyn, you had a comment or a question?
I do have a question regarding the working groups. I know it's a list of examples such as, but I'm wondering, the only working group that I see that is directly related to library functioning would be those who are interested in the teen program, for example, the teen space, the teen collections, whatever. And I'm wondering about any others. So because the others are more general.
I actually had a library services working group in, and then I took it out, and then I put it in, and then I took it out. It wasn't in anybody else's committee charge.
Right, I couldn't see that.
This is a pretty extensive committee charge. But we could put it in. Let's see. And that doesn't mean, like, these are all working groups that may or may not be formed. So we can put it in. I did have it in, and you know, and I am already getting people wanting to talk about potential library services. So it could be that there's a group of people who is interested in sort of facilitating a community conversation around that particularly. So I'm happy to put it in as long as other people agree that it's okay to have it there.
I think it makes total sense. Thank you for bringing that up. Go ahead, Kate.
I like it.
Kate, go ahead.
I didn't want to step on Carolyn if she was still
I
speaking.
think you were done, right?
I'm done. I like it. That's all I
Good.
have to
Thank
say.
you for bringing that up. I hadn't noticed that it was in and out. Maybe I didn't see it.
No, you didn't see it.
Okay, go ahead, Kate.
So one thing that occurred to me is that there is no role on the building committee that will coordinate the work of the working groups. And it will default to Mary Ann, I fear, if that's not named. And so I just wondered what you thought about that. I mean, I guess if you have someone with, really good project management experience, that's what you're going to need, right? Is to make sure that the working groups are meeting, that they're moving forward, that they have clear timelines, that they have expectations and milestones and stuff. So maybe that person could do that, but I'm just concerned, if you're naming all these, working groups, and I think a lot of them probably will be necessary, just coordinating the input of all those people is a big job in itself.
I agree with you, Kate. That's a really good point. Brad, is your comment or question related to that?
No.
No, okay. Does anybody want to have any suggestions about? Maybe that's something that the committee, the building committee is going to have to figure out how to handle it. Because you're right. If you're still running a library and you're on a building committee, Mary Ann, you can't oversee all these little groups.
Right. Right. I mean, it would
Unless there's a
seem
way to
likely
get
that,
people like trustees to volunteer to be on the little working groups or something like that. I was just looking at thinking, oh yeah, I could imagine being, on one of those. Maybe that's how it's dealt with, that somebody else takes some responsibility for overseeing or participating. Maybe not overseeing, but I don't know.
Does project management only refer to the physical construction?
Can I jump in, Michelle?
Go ahead. Yeah.
In my mind, we have a project manager, an owner's project manager, which that is going to get paid probably a pretty sweet chunk of money to manage the construction project. So I think that, this role of project management could well be just someone who coordinates and the working groups efforts. I don't know what else they might need to do, but that seems like a really important thing for a building committee role for the building committee to have.
So Kate, are you suggesting that the line item we just inserted, project management, will really be taken care of by the owner's building manager, and that what we need here is project coordinator? Or am I putting words in your mouth?
I hope so, because they sounded so much more coherent than what I said. But, yeah, I guess I do. I mean, I appreciate what Tim is saying, is that this is a big project, right? But in terms of the construction part, we're paying for that. And I feel like we should, provide, the building committee should provide oversight as appropriate and work with but we don't need to manage it. I keep saying we, but it's not, I don't think I'm going to be on it, but the building committee won't need to manage the construction project. They're not like a contractor of some kind, right? They're not serving that role. So, but what is needed is someone who can manage the outreach and collect the input and help the, funnel from the working groups to the building committee and, to both ways.
I think it would be, in that case, I think it would be good to take management out of where the cursor is now and make it coordinator, just because management to me is the
Yeah,
word.
and I mean, yeah, I'm sorry, and just maybe even name it working group coordinator.
I like that.
It's okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. Somebody's got to oversee that. I have no idea what an OPM actually does. So we're almost, it's 8:25, so we should probably finish up. Is there anything else on this section?
Does anybody have any concerns that I think Brad was alluding to before about how these subcommittees are formed? Are they totally up to the building committee, or do they have to have any coordination with the select board? I don't have an answer. I'm just, from
I
you
would
guys'
assume that the
past
building
experience.
committee makes that decision on how they're gonna do it. I mean, I don't know. Been on a building committee before, but
What its past experience show us is the best way.
I don't know.
Did they ever get to that stage last time around, or?
No,
we were
Never been here before.
We were working on a schematic design. It was different. We were working with an architect, but it still was different. It wasn't this specific.
hey, Marianne, you might have said this earlier and I missed it, but did you look at other building committee charges when you created
Yes,
this?
yes, yeah,
Got it.
yes, yeah. I did, and then I looked at the, you know, the lib guide that the MBLC has on their website. So you know, Amherst has a really extensive committee charge, and Greenfields is, you know, about a third of a page. So you know, so it's so this is a pretty extensive committee charge. And you know, and this, I mean, this certainly communicates that this group of people is going to be committed to you know, steering the design and development of the new Shutesbury Library. I think that this charge does it very well.
Yeah, I think, I don't know much more we can figure out about these working groups. I feel like it might really be the building committee's charge to figure that out. Yes, go ahead, Melanie.
It's a minor point, but I think it should say working group coordination to be consistent with the other ones, that it's not like a, am I wrong about that? It's not like a necessarily a person, but it's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Good point. Okay, how about the project timeline? Did you get that from somewhere, Marianne?
So, so the Jones had project timeline on theirs,
Uh-huh.
and so then and Greenfield didn't have project timeline, but I thought it would be good to have, you know, at least some idea of timing when we're discussing this. And so, and Lauren and Andrea in public meetings have said that the design phase will last 6 months, and they've said that the construction document phase will last 6 months. And then, you know, going out to bid lasting 14 weeks. I have experience with going out to bid, so that seemed reasonable. And then the Jones Library construction phase was 22 months. And so I asked Lauren and Andrea, I said, I don't think ours will be 22 months. Do you have an estimate? And they said, their answer was the OPM will sort of lay out the project timeline. But you know, and I was sort of guessing that construction would take 6 months. And we could put that guesstimate in. Or I thought it also worked like this.
What if we say project timeline estimate? Just so people understand it's an estimate.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah, Carolyn, did you have a question or a comment?
Well, just a comment as far as comparing Shutesbury with Amherst. The Jones project is a lot more complicated for many, many reasons, including the fact that they are renovating an existing building, and there are a lot, I mean, you know, we've had our own sort of share of community involvement and conflict, but theirs is on a much bigger scale, and there's just a lot more working pieces. So I'm sure that building a new building, which is what's happening here, and it's a lot smaller and probably simpler, won't take as long as 22 months.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, no, it won't take as long.
no, I think it's going to be a lot less. That's my opinion, but
Yeah, That's
Yeah.
probably true.
No, you're right. But Lauren and Andrea wouldn't they wouldn't
I
make
think
a
it's okay
guess.
to leave it
at a
because I
time.
think if they said if OPM is going to be the one that's going to kind of
Right.
come up with that
Sure.
number, that makes sense.
Yep.
Okay.
Maybe say
Any-
that, just say the TBD by OPM or something like that.
Mhm. That makes total sense.
That
But
okay.
put it in parens like the other ones.
Yeah. Makes sense. Okay, and who does the project closeout? The whole building
The
committee?
the committee and me, and that's just those meetings to make sure everything's done and all the invoices are in and all of those things.
Yeah. Okay. And then the last
Question.
thing, reporting.
Oh, I just had one question. Is moving, where is moving?
Oh, yeah, that's a good point.
So moving from the current building to the new building.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
So moving and opening.
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
But all right, so moving is going to take a short amount of time. All right, moving and grand opening. What, 2 weeks?
No idea.
Yeah.
I would suggest a soft opening, but that's just my opinion. Like it might be more than 2 weeks for to the grand opening.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's a good point. Have a soft opening and then a grand opening once everything is perfect the way you want it, Marianne, so you don't feel stressed.
Okay,
Yeah.
A lot of places do that.
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That makes total sense. Very good point, Carolyn. Okay, and then the last one. I think that the last paragraph makes total sense.
I don't think you want to just have it for 2 weeks then in that item. I mean, oh, okay, so it's not mentioning when the grand opening would be.
No, yeah, well,
Right.
she changed it to soft opening. I think it's
Yeah,
right.
okay,
The best
okay,
thing to
yep.
do it, and then she can say when she wants to have her grand opening.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
herself more time so she's not stressed. Moving is going to be a big deal. Okay, are we done with this? Do we need to?
And so how do you feel about quarterly updates?
I think
think-
that or more would be fine.
Right.
I mean, if
Right.
somebody on the committee, if a trustee is going to be on it and you will get updates every month, I'm sure.
Right.
But at
Right.
least a minimum of quarterly, but I think it's really realistically, it's going to happen more often than that.
How
But we
about
could
this?
ask
How about
we could ask the OPM to come quarterly maybe, but yeah. But you'll give us updates.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, are we done? Do
Okay.
we need to make someone make a motion to approve this to submit to the select board?
So moved.
Okay, we got a first
A
and a
second.
second. Okay, great. I want to do a roll call, all in favor. So Melanie,
Yes.
Kate,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Tim, you're off my screen, but I know you're there somewhere.
Oh, yes.
Okay, and me, yes, Michelle. Okay, good work. Thanks for coming up with the draft. That really helped. And all your hard work that you even all the homework that you did, Marianne, which was really great.
Marianne, could you send me a copy of this so I can
Yeah.
send it with 15 minutes? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so we just need to set up our next meeting. Right. And then for the next meeting, is that when we want to start taking letters, or should we make that date now, letters of interest?
So let's see. So if the select board approves this on the 19th,
Okay.
I get it out to the community on the 20th.
Mhm.
Do we want to give people a month to submit letters of interest? Yeah. So then,
What about people that are out of town for summer vacations and stuff that might?
well, the thing is, we want to get moving on this.
Yeah.
And a month gives people, and if I send it out in a town announce twice, on the 20th and then again 2 weeks later, that, most people aren't away for a whole month. And we can't hire an OPM until we have a building committee up and running. So it's important to get moving if we can. So
Can I make a suggestion?
Go ahead.
I know that there's some controversy about this, but I think it would be a good idea to announce it on Nextdoor, because that's where a lot of people are going to see it. Even though they should all be on town announce and everybody should be watching that, the reality is many, many more people are on Nextdoor. My opinion.
we post everything on Nextdoor.
Okay.
So,
That's
but I
great.
always send a town announce first.
Yeah,
Um,
that's fine. That's totally
yeah.
fine.
So then what's our target date then? That we'd like the letter to be
So-
received by?
So if I get it out on July 20th and letters of interest are due by August 19th, which is a Friday. What about August 22nd? That seems like, it does seem like, I could probably get all of the letters in a packet and sent out to everybody by, that's a lot to, I may be on vacation around then too. Let me look and see when I'm going to be on vacation.
Yeah, it might be done that part.
I
of
have
that
it
week,
written
the
down.
15th.
So
While she's checking that, remind me, are the Board of Trustees is reviewing these or doing it in conjunction with the Select Board? What's that process?
My understanding was we're gonna review them and make some recommendations, but it's their final decision, right?
Yeah, that's what I understand too.
Mhm.
I
Right.
think we should give ourselves a week after
To look at
submissions,
them,
the
yeah.
whole next week to review, because this is a really serious thing
Mhm.
and we don't want to
absolutely.
rush it.
Right.
And so that would mean that our next meeting would be like the 29th of August. Is that crazy for people? Are people away?
I have another question about the process before you go on that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. Sorry, Tim.
Well, when you review publicly applications for people to a committee, when we hire people in town, much of that is private, executive session and that type of thing. Historically, when you evaluate people for a committee, is that done in an open meeting form?
we can ask, and if we need to do it in executive session, we will. Okay,
That's a really good question.
I'll ask.
Question.
Yeah,
I could see real benefit to that being executive session.
Absolutely.
And if so, when we talk about dates, is that going to slow us down at all? Or?
executive session is still just a regular
Right.
meeting that
Right.
has to be posted 48 hours in advance.
Right. So are we talking about the 29th? Does that work for Marion? Marion, are you away?
I get back, provided my flight gets back on the 28th. So I would be,
Oh, wow.
so I'd be available for a meeting on the 29th. And if I'm stuck in Dallas, I'll bring my computer with me. That's really like, this is
When
the
do you
reality of
When do you leave,
traveling.
Marianne?
Hmm?
When do you leave?
Leave on the 22nd.
Okay.
I leave Monday, the 22nd, and come back Sunday, the 28th.
Okay, so
and-
then we need to have the deadlines before you leave, so.
Yes, so the deadline is the 19th. And then
I
I,
think that's
by
making it
9
tight.
a.m.
I personally think that's making it tight for you. I'd give
Okay.
yourself, make it the 17th or the 18th. I'm worried
All right,
about
well,
you
let's make
being-
it the 18th. Okay, let's make it the 18th, and then I get them all together in a package to each of you. Provided that the select board agrees with this process.
Mhm.
And then we have an executive session on the 29th. Or part of that meeting on the 29th is an executive session to pick people to recommend to the select board.
Mhm.
Okay, that
Can we
works.
do another Tuesday meeting, the 30th? Just to give you one more day to make sure you get home?
Great idea.
Sorry, I'm going to see Brandy Carlisle. I'm not available.
Oh.
But we've had the tickets for over 2 years. So-
Yeah, sounds like it needs to be the 29th. Can I make a couple suggestions? One is that we consider a rubric for ourselves
Absolutely, I
that we
agree.
use, that we all use to evaluate, and that we have some sort of ranking system, that we all do that work during that week that we have. And you know, recommend and rank people for different roles that we've just spent time naming, and go through that rubric, and that we give ourselves an hour and a half on the 29th. This is going to be one of the most important decisions that we make as a team. And so if you like, I would be happy to volunteer with anyone else who would like to serve as a working group to come up with a rubric. I don't
I'd
know.
be happy to do that because that's what we used in Amherst and other places I've worked to when we're hiring people. So
Yeah.
it's the most objective way to look at candidates. I agree.
Yeah,
I don't happen to have any on my fingertips at the moment, but
I
I'm sure
have
we
a
can find
couple.
some.
I have
Yeah.
a couple so that
Okay.
we can look at.
Okay.
Might be helpful.
Do people agree? Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Okay.
29th works for me.
Now, do we want somebody to go to the select board meeting with Marianne on the 19th? I can't, I'm out of town, I'm at my mom's, but
The 19th of what?
July. With this, yeah,
Next Tuesday.
yeah, they're gonna look at our, what we just did tonight.
If needed, I can go.
I can't, unfortunately. I'll be traveling for the next couple weeks, so
Okay,
less available than usual.
yeah, I'm at my mom's, I don't have internet, so Brad, you said you could make that happen? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Just so Marianne's got support, now that she needs with the select board, they're very supportive group, but still, okay. Anything else?
Yeah,
So-
I don't know if I missed this because I was in and out at the top of the meeting, but I really feel like we should give ourselves a huge round of applause. We haven't met since the vote passed, and it has
True.
been years of dedicated work by this team. And
Yeah.
wow, we did it, y'all. It's amazing. Congratulations, everyone.
It was so nice to be
Yay.
there for that celebration with cake and the other day, so that was wonderful.
Yeah.
Carolyn, did you have a comment?
No, I was just trying to do these other icons with a thumbs up, and I have a typo on my little
Okay.
cell phone. It's too small.
So our next meeting
Sorry.
will be on August 29th. 7:30.
To 9. I
Mhm.
think we should give ourselves.
Yes, that's a good
You might
point.
not need it all, might be simple,
Yeah.
but you never know.
You get flooded with really qualified applicants. It's hard
That's
to know.
right.
Like hard to know. Okay, I think we're done. We done? Good
It's
work,
well
everyone,
before
tonight.
9.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we
What time is
adjourned,
it?
Madam Chair?
It is, I was gonna say, what time is it? Oh, 8:44, okay. Not too bad. Okay, thank you, everyone. Good evening. We're like,
Thanks,
close the
everybody.
meeting.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank
night.
you. Good
Thank
night,
you.
everybody.
All right. Good night,
night.
everyone. All right. Thanks.